What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking with Dinuk about his Janemba that he took to US Nats last month. Dinuk, you want to introduce yourself, talk about how long you've been playing the game, and talk about
Yeah,
why you took this deck to Nats?
yeah, of course. So I'm Dinuk. I don't know if some of you may know me. I'm part of Super Players. They don't play as much competitively anymore, but I still uh help them out with their content a bit. And then I've been playing since the beginning. I've been playing a lot of decks, but one of my favorites was Janemba, and I thought it was really good this format. Sadly, I went X3 around round 5. I should have kept playing just for fun, but I wanted to try a side event. I got first in the side event with Janemba, and I played most of the meta in that event as well.
Nice.
Um, Before I start the profile, I just want to do some quick shout outs to Super players. Since day one, my locals turned 0. My two really good friends that helped me play test, Alex and Daniel. And another shout out to Peter Dance. He got first in one of the Euro events with Janemba. So I got a lot
Okay.
of good insight on how to play against my hardest matchup, which sounds easy for this deck, was U7 Goku. Even though they draw so much, the burn Goku hurts Janemba a lot.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think it made it a lot harder to mill. They were so close at for each of my games. But with this new ban list, I think Janemba has a higher chance now going against the deck because
For
you can
sure. For
definitely play
sure.
around the 6 drop Goku. But besides that, I can start getting to the deck profile. Most of it is pretty standard from Peter Dance's build. Um, there's a little few differences, but to start off, I have my Millers. Uh, I have my Unison, Reality Bender, and of course the leader Janemba. If you don't know what Janemba does, basically on both sides, when he swings, you draw one, you mill two. On his awaken, you have to be 4 or less, and you untap 2 energy, which helps you extend your plays or be more defensive. And then the additional auto on this side is once per game. When you're being attacked, you can pitch a blue card to negate the attack. So it comes in handy. Before when Cooler was hit, the counter your counters, I would always bait out the Cooler with a D Magic or Nimbus or something, and when they counter it, then I can do my auto right after, and it still stops the attack. So sometimes they don't see it coming if they're not aware of Janemba's auto. And for my Millers, the Unison, um, it has a zero and my the zero is what you mostly use. It's you both you and your opponent draw one, and then your opponent mills one, so you're getting 2 cards out of their deck, and you're still plussing a card in your hand. I've never used the crit recently. I've used it way before when like furthering destruction Champa was a thing, and I could run in the deck to help me kind of push for game if I can't mill out as fast.
Yeah.
And the -2, I didn't get to use it this event, but I have used it in the past where if the opponent has 15 or less cards, he gets a 15k boost and triple strike, and that's an active main or battle, so you can catch them off guard with it.
Nice.
And then Reality Bender too. Um, if your opponent has 4 energy and battle cards, and you control no battle cards, you can pay this for 1, and it has deflect as well. So most of the time it gets around counter plays unless if it has an auto. It has critical as well, but you rarely swing with it. You just do it for the auto at the end of turn. You bottom deck and you mill two. So um, I'm playing a blue yellow variant, just like Peter Dance did. Um, I After talking to him, I used to play mono blue, and that's like turbo mill. I had like AOD and a few other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but the yellow stuff really helped with the aggroness of like U7 and some other decks like Jiren.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I really like this build a lot. So those are all my mill packages basically. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it gets a lot done once you play with all the defensive cards. And basically the two SCRs I feel like are broken in this deck are Vermilions and Boo Unison. If you're able to pull off Boo Unison, you get to survive for maybe like 2 to 3 turns if they're not green and they don't have a quick way of getting rid of the markers because you have so many counters. But it helps you. The Boo Unison helps you draw a card. It's a double strike blocker. and at the end of the turn you get to restand him and a mono blue energy. You have to keep that in mind with the blue yellow package because you have to play around with your energy and make sure you don't leave a blue energy open and tap all your dual colors out because then you won't be able to untap. So you gotta pay attention when you do that.
Fair enough. Did you
And,
find like because there was a lot of Gohan running around, did you find that he lived a lot or in that matchup were you just not playing him?
I would still keep it just because in the in this build I have like a bunch of negates, so I felt like I could get to turn 4. I would say for me personally, I'm comfortable with Gohan, and I would say it's like a 50-50 matchup, maybe 60-40 if you lose the die roll to Gohan. But if you win the die roll, it's a big lead and it does help a lot. And then another thing too, the game's all about RNG at the end of the day. If you're lucky enough to mill their SCRs, that puts you in a big lead as well. It
Fair
happened to
enough.
me a couple of times this week, that event. And then the auto as well, which is good when they attack with a battle card, you can minus a marker and remove it. So like any big threats or SCRs, if they didn't have a way to get rid of this, you're guaranteed to get rid of it, which goes also for Vermilion because Vermilion it removes for every color on both sides. The dual colors help out a lot, so I get blue and yellow, and I do run some black cards, so I potentially have 3 targets to remove. And if I'm playing against a green or red deck, that's just an additional removal. I did play against Rainbow Bardock, and since they run this card and they have a bunch of dual colors, I got to remove all 5 of their battle cards, and then that game was pretty nutty. They dropped like these big 8-drop Gogetas, and I had to get rid of them each time. But this SER I feel like is the best for Janemba. That's another thing. The reason you can't run any other ones is because of the permanent on the front side of the
Of
leader. You
course,
can't
yeah.
run cards costing 5 or more. So if you can't get your hands on Vermilion, Hero's Lineage is probably the next best thing. You could steal a battle card and it can come in clutch if they're trying to go for a game. But I believe Hero's Lineage has like a cost of 6 or less or 7 or less. So sometimes the big cards won't help you at that point. So Vermilion's definitely a better
Yeah.
pick.
I think it's
And
7
then
or less. And Vermilion, that's crazy. I didn't realize it actually counted your opponent's colors too.
yeah, it does. It counts both players' colors
Wow.
in the energy and battle area.
That card's even stronger than I thought it was. Wow. And it was already
Yeah,
really strong.
but to keep in mind, the only downside for Vermilions, if you target a SCR or Z battle card, you do not get the boost with the leader because for each card you
Got
remove,
it.
you get a 5k boost, but they never hit the warp for those 2 cards.
Understood.
Yeah, so we got the Millers, the Secret Rares, and then next we're gonna go over my check lands and some counter plays. For the dual colors, I ran um, 4 Zamasus and then 4 Beers. As soon as you put a dual color down turn 1, most of the time you are tapped out. But after that, the rest will be inactive because they ignore energy exhaust when they check the other dual colors.
Yep.
Um, Usually with Beerus, I want to put it down more than the Zamasu because at least with Zamasu, it does have a counterplay and it did help with the U7 Goku matchup a lot. The annoying thing about that deck was the 4-drop Goku burn, so you could do Zamasu to like stall for a turn and then you hopefully don't get burnt out. And
Yep.
then it does have an auto as well. You get to draw when played and rest another one of their battle cards. So it does help with the defensive stuff as well. But overall, yeah, these were my only dual colors for the deck. I never did the Beerus auto. It was always strictly energy, but it's autos to draw one when you play it.
Yeah,
So there's
Zamasu can
that.
come in really clutch with that auto, I feel like. There's some deflect threats out there, like the Quad Strike Vegito Secret Rare, for example, that you can just use that
Yeah,
on and deny them a huge tempo
exactly.
swing.
Yeah, yeah. Zamasu definitely put in a lot of work over the weekend. I did enjoy the card a lot. And then for my draw engine and then somewhat removal, I did run uh, 3 of the apes and then 2 black smoke. I
Okay.
didn't get to use black smoke as much for the event. I only did use it mostly in the U7 Goku matchup. It was like my only way to get rid of the burn Goku because it has barrier. Otherwise, I could use both for their draw effects. Um, the Ape was really good because I run Nimbus. You'll see it in the profile once I go through. It's a good yellow target of pitch, so you get two uses out of it. You get
Gotcha, gotcha.
a floodgate negate, and then you get the draw two on your following turn.
Yep.
So yeah, these were amazing cards over the weekend as well.
So, did you
And then
find that like you were able to keep up with the crazy hand sizes of the decks in the format thanks to
yeah,
these cards?
there was um there was no time when I felt like was like restricted with my hand size. The only time I was restricted was against a cooler mill player. I kind of misplayed and I did my draw ape too early. I was expecting him to run bursting rage because that's what most people are going with cooler mill. But he ran the cooler SCR, the black one that reduces your hand to 5.
Oh,
So that's where I kind of misplayed. If I saved it, I could have probably recovered hand a bit and then came back. But after that, me surviving that turn, I didn't have enough hand resources to keep up. But I did play that same guy in the side event, and I learned from my mistake, and then I was able to take that one. He's a really good cooler mill player for sure.
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I always try to save the ape when like I'm either losing hand a bit or I just need to just get greedy and search for my mill pieces if it's close to the game.
Makes sense.
And and then for the negates, I run one Whisk Coercion, um, two D Magic, four Nimbus, and one Max Power.
Wow. Okay.
So I did run a lot of negates, and when I go through my side deck, I have a lot more in here too. I think it's just mostly Whisk Coercion. I have more. I mostly have these negates for either U7 Goku or the Jiren matchup. Jiren can be really scary with all their little guys swarming. I do have multiple ways to remove them in the deck. I believe most of them's in the Z deck, but Nimbus was great because it's just a floodgate. They can only swing one more time, so that helps you stall out a lot. D Magic and Whisk Coercion are both good. Whisk Coercion lets you untap one, and then D Magic only lets you untap two, and it has a sparking where you can take a life and untap two as well. And then Max Power, it was just a good card because you usually have a couple cards in your drop. So when you negate, you can banish 4 cards and return this back to your hand. You can't use it the same turn, but you can always use it the following turn for the active main to remove a battle card with energy cost greater than the opponent's energy. Or I can use it for my super combo to bottom deck it because it's now a dead card, so I can just filter it out. And then the good thing about Whisk Coercion, even though you get to untap one energy, I did run the Bojack negate.
Ah,
So
so it
if
lets you untap a yellow.
exactly, so if I only had a blue left from like maybe the Boo Unison and I didn't have a way to get to yellow or I didn't have D Magic to untap two, I can at least untap. I can tap the blue and untap yellow, and this could be a target if needed in early game or such. And then he's good too because on play, it doesn't even have to be on the counter play. It can be when you hard play it on your turn. Your opponent sends the top card of their deck, so sometimes he can be your early miller too if you can't find these guys and there are like 1 or 2 cards
Oh
left in
yeah, I
deck.
forgot he did that.
Yeah,
He's an
the only
additional
thing is
mill
on the
piece.
opponent's turn, he gets reduced by 2. So if you do it on your turn, you have to pay 3, but it comes in
Got it,
clutch
got it.
sometimes if you need to do the mill. And then the next card is a blue staple as well. It's Senzu Bean.
Yep.
Um, and then I also got I'll show this one later because it's with the draw engine. But Senzu Bean is a staple for blue. Um, Before when it wasn't eroded, I used to love using this offensively in Janemba because I can turbo mill with the unison if I needed to, but it's a great defensive card. It helps you rearrange your colors for blue and yellow if needed,
Yeah.
and it gives your leader a 5k boost, so it becomes a little harder at that point for them to swing unless they want to commit the hand size. And then for the draw engine, I do have Beerus Realm. Inferno Cell, and my Vegeta Super combos. These always kept your hand big and filter. Like this helps you filter through the deck by bottom decking dead cards. These just help you replace and stay defensive with the draws. Once in a while, you do the Beerus to try to get rid of a battle card offensively that costs greater than their energy. You can run the Goku instead of cells. I just ran cells just because my deck was like almost completely high rarity. I'm just missing a few cards, so I just wanted to run my level twos. But overall, it was a good draw engine. I did enjoy the deck a lot. And then I can show you my Z deck and then side deck.
Sweet. And is this a 50 card list or did you go over 50?
Hey, it's 53.
53? Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And you have a
I
lot of
did run it
draw, a
at
lot of
52
filter.
before,
So
but I needed like the extra negate, so I made the room for with coercion.
got it, got it.
Yeah, I believe it's 52 to 53 for sure.
Did you find that the unison acted like a lightning rod at times and people were swinging at it instead of trying to kill you?
In the early rounds, yes, but then they
Okay.
realize once their deck's getting lower, they kind of forget about unison
They're like,
sometimes, and they
wait,
just
I
go
need to win
for
the
it.
game.
Yeah, and then um, that's if I was lucky. If I did it on turn two, some players would just swing at it right away, and I didn't have a way to defend it. But
Yeah.
if I did on turn three, I usually have that energy to protect it.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And then for my Z deck, I run Black Kamehameha Mighty Blast. It's
Yep.
just a really good defensive card. Gives you 10k, and then it can bounce a 2 cost at the bottom of the deck. I rarely do that because I'm trying to mill, but it just helps with the 10k boost. And then the active battle is what's really good when you pay 1. If you send 3Z, you get to draw a card, and then you play a shadow token with blocker. So it becomes an extra defensive card at that point too. And then it gets a 15k boost. I did run my black Z battle card targets to help me with Vermilion. I do
Ah.
have Surmounting and then this Majin Buu. Surmounting's to help me awaken if I need it or filter my hand if someone's trying to stall me out. And then the Buu I loved a lot just because he is a blocker. If most cards in this game now, they have a way to get rid of a 1 cost easily, but if they don't respect it and they think it's just a blocker at that point, it becomes these two become targets for Vermilion. That's my third color essentially.
Got it, got it.
Yeah, you can't really do his active main because it's like either a black lead or a Majin Buu lock. But I do have it as a blocker. It's nice to have if needed.
Oh, okay, so it's just a 1/1 blocker. You can play at any point. Makes
Yeah, it's a
sense.
colorless energy too. It's not a black color restriction.
Yeah.
And then I did run the 2-drop Beerus Z battle card. This helped a lot just to get stuff out of the way. Like, let me see. I'm trying to think. So in one of my games that I lost to U7 Goku in the main event, on he played one burn Goku. I did I did black smoke on that one. On his next turn, he had uh two. He had a 6-drop and burn Goku. I had to use this to get rid of both, and then
Okay,
he still
yeah.
got me with the third burn Goku afterwards, and then
Oh,
bursting
jeez.
rage me. Even after all that removal, he still had like a lot of resources pushing in from my life. The deck can remove a lot if needed, so with the new list, it's probably a lot stronger. And he's basically a not a triple strike.
Triple
He can
attacker.
attack 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really like Beerus a lot. But the card that I put in more work was probably Cell. I ran it at 2
Card
just
is so
because,
good.
yeah, the deck doesn't have a lot of board removal besides Vermilion. So this did help a lot. I like it in my Android 21 matchups. I like it against um, Jiren. And then I I don't rarely get the triple strike, but if I do, it depends on the scenario. I don't even like to swing at the leader just to triple crit them, just because sometimes I leave them above 4 life, and then I don't want to give them an access way to awaken if they don't have one already.
Yeah.
And then their super combos are kind of dead as well. So sometimes I don't even swing with it. But if they're already awakened, I'll just do it to just apply a little more pressure, because then they do get scared with the unison. Sometimes I mentioned like it is a triple striker at that point, so they are kind
Yeah.
of cautious. And then the last card was a Goku. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
another It was just another good board removal. It's dual attack and it ignores it does not ignore barrier. It gains critical and barrier, but I get to KO stuff in rest mode and it gets a 5k boost each time it swings. So
It does it
um
KO two things or one thing?
it KOs 2 things because it's a dual
Ah,
attacker.
nice. So it's on each swing it KO something. That's really good.
Yeah.
And it's
So
just
I
two
really
yellow
like the Z
energy to
deck.
play it.
Yeah, just 2 yellow energy. This was the only yellow Z battle card, and then this is the only black one. Everything else was blue. Oh, and then the
Yeah, yeah.
surmounting. But
Cool.
I don't think I would make any changes to the Z deck. I liked it how it was. I didn't regret any of the ratios for like Beerus or Cell. Those were always the harder choices.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I did have some side cards. I had Frost Deadly Poison. It would just help for like some of the big body cards. And then if I'm at low life, which can happen in Janemba, I get to untap a energy as well. I have to be at 3 or less life. So it's essentially a 2 cost instead of a 3, and I get to draw with it when I counterplay, and it gets the skills.
A lot of the threats in the meta have deflect. Is there anything specific you were citing this in for, or you were just kind of playing it by ear?
It was mostly for the cooler SCR. I just didn't.
Ah,
I did cite it as well, but I just didn't see it in that matchup.
got it, got it.
And
Okay.
and then I did have the 3 other Wiz coercions. It's just for aggro decks like Jiren, or if for U7 Goku. This did help me a lot just to stop the pressures for them like doing the Majin Vegeta. I would say my Nimbus is more for the 6 drop, so I would just use these for the other attackers.
Yeah, that's really nice. And if you can deny them their combo step early, that can slow them down quite a bit as well.
Exactly, yeah. And then I did Mutahito as well. It helped for like other big bodies. It helped against the 6 drop Goku. The only
For
thing
sure.
is the battle card has to be greater than their energy. So since I am Janemba, some of the games they do get to not ramp, but they get to place a lot of energy.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
yeah, so I would only do this early game mostly. In some of the U7 Goku matchups, their 6 drop, they already have 6 energy, so I can't really use it anymore at that point. So it would be for early on if they're trying to really go aggressive earlier the turns, just to stall out a bit.
Got it, got it.
I did have Mafuba as well. It did help remove some secret rares, some problematic scary cards that have like either dual attack or triple strike.
Yep.
Uh,
Card is still really good.
yeah. And then I did have Deborah for the Green Gohan matchup if they do pitch. But you have to be careful when you do this too, just because most of them did run Koitsukai, so you just have to debate if you really want to use it or not at that point. There were some times when I was under Koitsukai, I still did it just to filter
Filter.
my hand,
Yeah.
and then I just dumped the dead cards at that point.
Gotcha, gotcha.
My other card was Ice Lance. This was for the Gogeta Aegis matchup.
Gotta
It's just
respect
so
it. Yep.
yeah. I have nothing in the deck that can get rid of it just because it has the permanent can't be removed. So I have to do this first to negate it, and then I have multiple choices at that point. Like I do
Yeah, for
have
sure.
the Beerus Realm, the Beerus Z battle card. But yeah, there's a lot of cards here that would help me remove. I just need to do this first to negate it. But luckily I didn't play against it because that's usually a hard matchup too. They generate a lot of resource. And then I have Goku Black here. This was for the Android
Ooh.
21 matchup. Most of their battle cards are 4 cost, even their SCR. So this would help
True.
me get rid of their 4 drops and just to bait out the SCR to remove the cards underneath, and then I can
That's cool.
remove it with another card. Yeah, I did a lot of playtesting. Shout out to Daniel and Michael Kano. They both played 21, so I got a lot of practice and I was really comfortable with the matchup. I wasn't too scared. The only card I was scared of was Tide, which I was surprised was not hit on the list. But most people play one Jiren. I play two just because after I get Tide, there's no coming back for Janemba. So I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
guarantee see it.
Okay, okay.
But yeah,
Awesome.
besides
Any changes you would make to the deck?
as of now, I don't think I would make any changes. I think everything's good how it is. Maybe defending friends, but I like that more in my mono blue build, just
Yeah,
because it's more consistent. And then for that deck, once in a while, I don't mind them bottom decking, just because then it's dwindling their hand size, and then I can keep up in the long game.
fair enough, fair enough.
Um, I can't really remember my main matchups. I know I lost to starter coup deck. Funny thing is I didn't side Jiren in, and he was at 4 cards left in deck, and he tied me. He didn't ramp or anything. It just got that late in the game, and I felt so silly afterwards. Like I
Oh,
learned my
start
lesson.
like the ramp Goku, the seven energy
Not even the
Goku.
ramp Goku. It's just the starter Goku where it swings and then taps blue energy, 2 blue energy on
Oh, the
awaken.
Soul Striker.
Yeah, Soul
Wow.
Striker.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I basically didn't respect it to acknowledge it could run Tide. So after that,
Yeah.
I learned my lesson and I started citing Jiren in most of my blue matchups for the
Yeah, if you
most
see
part.
blue, it's just a safe bet.
Yeah, it was such a really close game. And then my other two losses was to the U7 Goku and the Cooler Mill. And then in my side
Okay.
event where I won, I played against, I believe it was a Demigra Black deck. It was really unique and it was super aggro.
Oh.
Luckily, I saw all my Nimbuses, and that was my very first game, so I barely got it there. Then I played against Android 21, and I played against a U7 Goku. I beat those. Um, yeah, the deck can definitely do it. It just you have to manage your resources really well. And then the finals, I played against the Cooler Mill guy again, and then I got that one after he got in the main event. But yeah,
Nice,
overall,
nice.
I love the deck. I thought it was a good deck choice. It was just like some poor decisions in the tournament that I made that caused me the game. But overall, all my opponents were great. Um, I love the deck so much. I see so much potential in it. I'm probably gonna keep playing it for this upcoming events after this ban list because the cooler counter, especially in the Burn Z extra card getting limited, helps this deck a lot stay in the game more.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining me and talking about your experience. You already made your shout outs, so thank you to all the viewers for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
All right, thank you guys.